The story begins in Denmark during the era of the Vikings. On a hill, a giant was playing with his little child. Suddenly, from the front, a Viking leader appeared with his men. They wanted to kill that giant. The giant saw the Vikings approaching from afar, picked up his child in his arms, and started running. But the Vikings had come very close. So the giant hit his child and turned to face the Vikings. But it was impossible for one giant to fight so many people. The Vikings shot arrows into the giant's chest and burned his body. The giant, writhed in pain, fell down the hill and died. The little child was watching everything while hiding. Then the Viking leader noticed the child. He took off his mask and moved toward the child with his sword. But as he swung the sword, he looked at the child's innocent face and felt pity. He spared the child and walked away. His men believed that the leader had killed the child as well. After this, the child climbed down the hill and went to his father's body. He wanted to protect his father's corpse from vultures and crows, but his father's body was so huge that he could not lift it. So the child picked up a sword and cut his father's body into many pieces. Carrying his father's severed head in his hands, he returned to his cave. Many years passed, and the child had grown up. He had become very large and even stronger than his father. But whenever he looked at his father's severed head, the memories came back, and he would cry loudly, remembering his revenge. On the other side, the Vikings were celebrating because they had built a new tavern in their village, and the chief was invited to inaugurate it. Meanwhile, the giant also came out his cave. He was eager to avenge his father's death. That night, when many Vikings were celebrating in the tavern, the giant arrived there. He crushed the head of the guard standing outside and killed him instantly. Then he entered the tavern and killed all the Vikings present. The next morning, the village chief arrived with his men. As soon as he entered, he was shocked to see the sight. All the Viking bodies were lying there brutally slaughtered. The chief asked his man, "Where were you when all this happened?" He replied, "I had gone back to the village. Some young boys stayed here to have fun." But what was surprising was that whoever attacked the place did not harm the nearby children or women. Seeing all this, the chief became very worried. Next, we see another Viking leader, Leo. Leo was a well-known warrior among the Vikings. The Vikings were basically raiders. They survived by looting other towns and villages and preferred living near water. They were heading toward another country for plundering when the weather suddenly worsened. So they had to stop near Denmark. That night, the chief went out with some soldiers to find the one who was killing Vikings. But as they moved a little forward, the giant suddenly appeared behind the soldiers. With a single strike of his hand, he killed one soldier on the spot. The chief saw everything and chased after the giant with his sword. But the giant ran away quickly. The chief could not understand why the giant was killing people selectively and what exactly he wanted. The next day, all the villagers came to see the dead bodies. The chief's wife said, "At this rate, all the women will become widows. He is selectively killing only warriors. Soon we will be left with only women and children." The chief had no answer and said nothing out of shame. After this, the chief's wife went to a woman named Lena, who lived alone on a mountain outside the village. She said, "People say you can see death before it comes. Tell me, will my husband also be killed like the others?" Lena replied, "You people are the lowest of the low. First, your warriors kidnapped me from my village. Then they used my body, and when they were done with me, they abandoned me here and cast me out of the village." The chief's wife said, "What happened to you is wrong, but I'm not responsible for it." Lena responded, "It doesn't matter anymore. And yes, your husband will not die by the hands of the giant, but all your other warriors will be killed." Hearing this, the chief's wife quietly walked away. Meanwhile, Leo and his men reached near the village. When a mounted guard saw them, he warned, "This land also belongs to the Vikings. If you have come here to loot, go back." Leo told him his name, and the guard recognized him immediately. Leo said, "We just want rest here for a few days. We have no intention of harming anyone." Hearing this, the soldier smiled and said, "I've heard a lot about you. Come, I'll take you to the village chief." Now Leo and his men met the chief. The chief was very happy to see Leo and said, "The last time I met your father, you were a small child, and now you've grown into a great warrior." Leo smiled and nodded. That night, the chief arranged a feast for Leo and his companions in the tavern. The chief's wife herself served them wine. During the feast, Leo asked, "Why are there so many widows here? Where have all the Viking warriors gone?" The chief replied, "A strange giant attacks at night and kills only the men." Hearing this, Leo said, "If the giant comes every night to kill Vikings, then tonight my men and I will wait for him. I will kill him and solve your problem." After the feast, the chief, his wife, and the others went home. But Leo and his warriors stayed in the tavern. At midnight, the giant came outside the tavern. First, he went to the priest and sniffed him. Then he walked to the door and checked if the Vikings inside were locals or outsiders. Inside, Leo and his men realized the giant had arrived and prepared for battle. But the giant sensed that the Vikings inside were not from this village. Instead of entering, the giant urinated on the closed door. When the Vikings came out to fight, the giant had already disappeared into the darkness. The next morning, the chief told Leo, "This is strange. Why did the giant spare you?" Leo replied, "Yes, he did come to the door, but instead of fighting, he peed on it and left." After that, Leo, some of his warriors, and some men from the village went into the mountains to look for the giant, hoping to find and kill him. But after searching extensively, they could not find him. So they returned to the village, tired and disappointed. A little later, Leo went alone to meet Lena, who lived near a hill outside the village. He told her, "I've heard that you can see death before it arrives." Lena replied yes, and then asked him why he had come. Leo said, "I want to know who will die in this war between the giant and the Vikings. Will we be able to kill the giant? I need to know because I want to protect people." Hearing this, Lena told her sorrowful story. "These people deserve this. Let them die. These Vikings kidnapped me from my home, used my body, and when they grew bored, they abandoned me here to live a shameful life." Then she answered Leo's question, "Yes, I have seen the future. The giant will die, but many Vikings will die along with him. This land will be soaked with blood, and that is exactly what they deserve." Lena added, "Whatever these people did to the giant, they are now suffering for it. You should stay out of this." Before Leo could ask more, his companions arrived looking for him and said that the night was approaching, so they needed to start preparing. Leo left with them. When he returned, he asked the chief, "Has the giant ever killed a woman or a child?" The chief replied, "No, he kills only men." Leo said, "That means he is intelligent and has principles." Hearing this, the chief became angry and said, "Our people are dying, and you're praising him?" Leo replied, "I'm not praising him. I'm just calculating that whatever he is doing it deliberately." Then the chief revealed, 20 years ago, we killed a giant. After that, no giant was seen for a long time. I don't know where this one came from." That night, Leo and his warriors waited in the tavern for the giant again. As soon as they heard the giant approaching, they rushed outside with swords. But the giant was nowhere to be seen. He had turned away after noticing that outsiders were present again, because he had no quarrel with them. The next morning, Leo went back to Lena and asked, "Tell me how I can kill the giant?" Lena replied, "Why don't you return home with your men?" Leo said, "Before I leave, I want to kill the giant and give the people here their freedom." Lena then took Leo inside her hut and gathered some bones while chanting spells. Suddenly, Leo sensed the giant was outside, but when the giant saw Leo, he ran away. Leo mounted his horse and chased him, but the giant quickly climbed up a mountain. Angry, Leo shouted, "If you have the courage, fight me. Why do you keep running from me?" The giant said something back in his own language and ran away again. Leo could not understand, but Lena did. She said, "The giant said, I have no enmity with you. You and your men have done nothing to harm me. That's why I will not attack you." Leo was shocked. He went back to Lena and asked, "If that's true, why did he come here at all?" Lena said, "I live alone here. Every night, some Viking warrior would try to take advantage of me. But ever since the giant started killing them, no one comes here to trouble me. That's why I won't help you. I don't want the giant to die." Then she added, "The giant has suffered a lot in his life anyway." After understanding everything, Leo went to the chief and said, "I spoke to the giant through Lena. She told me that the Viking warriors had committed terrible atrocities against him. That's why he is taking revenge now." Hearing this, the chief became nervous and said, "I'll talk to you about this later." As Leo was returning to his companions, he saw some children brutally beating a man. Leo chased the children away. The man told Leo, "My father fought against the giant's father. That's why the giant killed my entire family. I know where the giant lives. You and your men can go and kill him." Hearing this, Leo and his men got into a boat and left for the cave where the giant lived. They climbed the mountain and tried to find the entrance. One Viking attempted to go down, but slipped. Fortunately, his companions saved him. After that, no one dared to go down. Instead, some soldiers urinated on the cave path and left. While returning in the boat, the giant attacked from underwater. He tried to pull into the water the Viking who had first urinated on the cave, but the others attacked the giant with spears and saved their companion. After that, the soldiers returned to the tavern and waited for the giant. But that night, the giant didn't come. The next morning, when Leo stepped out of the tavern, he saw that the giant had killed the man who had shown them the cave path. Furious, Leo returned to the cave with his companions. This time, they used ropes to descend inside. When they reached the cave, they saw strange things. A soldier smashed the giant's father's skull against the wall and even urinated on it. The giant was not there at that moment, but when he returned, he saw the broken pieces of his father's skull. With his sharp sense of smell, he realized who had been there. His home had been desecrated, and he became furious. That same night, when all the Vikings were sleeping in the tavern, the giant arrived. He killed the soldier who had broken his father's skull. Leo also began fighting the giant, but the giant was far more powerful than him. After killing his target, the giant tried to escape through the roof, but Leo grabbed his leg and pulled him down. Leo wrapped a heavy iron chain around his hand. The giant punched Leo in anger and tried to break the chain, but his hand got stuck in it. A Viking shot an arrow at him, but the giant threw him away. Before they could attack again, the giant cut off his own trapped hand and escaped. He ran toward the sea but couldn't go very far. He collapsed on the shore and died. But suddenly, an invisible force dragged his body into the ocean. The strange thing was that the giant was a creature of principles. If he had wanted, he could have killed everyone that night. But he killed only those who had broken his father's skull. He gave his life, but he did not harm the innocent. The next day, the Vikings mourned their dead and burned their bodies. Leo told the chief, "You told me only half the truth. The giant is dead now. Tell me the whole truth." The chief finally admitted, "It was we who killed his father without any reason. He had done nothing wrong. He never attacked any human. And in the end, we suffered punishment for our deeds." That night, the Viking warriors hung the giant's severed hand in the tavern and celebrated, believing the giant was gone forever. After the celebration, most people went home. Leo went to Lena's hut. Lena told Leo, "Just as I said, the giant is dead, but you people still have more suffering left." Lena then told Leo about her past. Many years ago, the giant had come to her. He spent only one night with her and never touched her again. But one good thing happened. After that night, no Viking ever tried to harass her again. Lena told Leo that the giant wasn't evil. He only carried the pain of his childhood. While talking, Lena and Leo grew close to each other and soon ended up in each other's arms. In the middle of the dark night, the giant's mother entered the village. She had come to avenge her son's death. On the way, she killed a priest. She had no principles like her son. Blinded by rage, she went to the tavern and slaughtered all the Vikings inside. Then she took her son's severed hand and left. The next morning, a small boy quietly came to Lena. Lena told him to stay silent and left with him. Meanwhile, the Vikings believed that the giant was still alive and had committed all the murders. They went searching for him. On the seashore, they found a Viking's severed head. Leo's suspicion grew. Maybe the giant was alive. He jumped into the water alone and entered the cave. Inside, he found the giant's body lying on a rock. As he approached, the giant's mother attacked him from behind. She began strangling him. Leo grabbed a stone and smashed it on her head. Then he picked up a sword and killed her. At that moment, a small boy with a sword in his hand appeared. Seeing him, Leo understood everything. This boy was the son of Lena and the giant. Leo lowered his sword and did not harm the child. History had repeated itself once again. Later, Leo returned to the clan and told the chief, "I'm leaving. The giant and his mother are truly dead now." Before leaving, he met Lena again and said, If people find out the giant had a son, they will kill you both. Lena nodded and said, "This secret will remain between us." Then she left. In the end, Leo built graves outside Lena's hut for the giant and his mother. From a distance, the giant's son watched with tears in his eyes. Then Leo returned home with his companions. If you enjoyed the video, please like it. Subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.